kindly subscribe and hit the notification button to get updates on all our amazing features.
Dad?
Yes.
Well done. Please help me with the cup of water. Thank you.
Which cup of water?
Yeah, now. Surely by me go mini. No. Please help me take
Is
it
that not
now.
water by your side? Are you drinking something? Sure, I will.
No.
I'm in a meeting now.
So you cannot help me take the water.
Hey.
You say you love me. To help me take water and let me drink. Now I'm thirsty. Thank you. That's why I love you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dad. Thank you. Where are you taking it to?
Over here. One logo. Nonsense.
Now, must not take it far away. I'll wash it now. I'll wash. I've been busy. I cannot even take water for someone.
Busy doing what?
I've been busy now. Maybe you can see that I'm busy.
On Instagram. Oh no.
Stay tuned for our feature presentation. Hey, Pastor, help! My spouse is lazy.
I believe that laziness is a sign of not knowing what to do, how to do it, or when to do it.
Listen, the only way you can come out of any predicament in life is to own it.
Yeah.
You just have to come to a place where you face that, look, I am lazy.
Work on yourself so that the next generation will not have to repeat the same thing. The better, because most likely you're like either your father or your mother.
Hello, you're welcome to this session of Naked and Not Ashamed. And it's always such a pleasure for Inike and myself to bring you these sessions every week, and we know it's been such a blessing. The comments that have been coming in have been so lovely and so amazing. And we are even so happy that this has created the opportunity to be able to have personal sit-downs and counseling sessions with individuals. So, today's session is quite a bit of a humorous one, but one that many a times, people bring up from time to time. You hear people complain, you hear people talk about, and this one is simply titled, "My Spouse is Lazy." Oh my God. From time to time, you hear this coming up, either from the perspective of the husband or from the perspective of the wife. You hear people bringing up cases from time to time saying, "Hey, Pastor, help! My spouse is lazy." And it usually comes up in scenarios, when it usually comes from the man's side, a lot of times it's scenarios related to housework. So you hear men coming up and saying, "Hey, my spouse is lazy, when it comes to house chores, taking care of the home, taking care of the children, taking care of the family, and many times when it relates to the man's perspective, usually when it relates to him bringing in money. When a man is either not bringing in enough money, or if he's not even bringing in any money at all, he's out of work, and he seems not to be, pulling his weight in the home. You hear wives who call out and say, hey, my spouse is lazy. And let me tell you this scenario that we're talking about, this particular subject, it breaks out into various and different ways of expression. You will find out different scenarios whereby people complain about this. And we're going to endeavor to tackle as many of them as we possibly can, and talk about the things that give rise to this laziness and how you can deal with them.
My spouse is lazy now is an interesting topic because, from another perspective, I believe that laziness is a sign of not knowing what to do, how to do it, or when to do it. You see, if you have the right motivation, if you have the right drive, if something is exciting, if there's something there that makes you want to wake up every morning and achieve something, laziness is something that can be dealt with. So I would want us to look at it from the aspect of, was this person born like this? Did the person come about to be like this because of upbringing, because of exposure? Because when we were growing up, there's some families that had house helps from the tender age till they grew up and everything. Some of them still turned out well because as the house help is working, the children are working. And there's some that house help did practically everything. I'm talking of the aspect of the woman now, where the girl or the girl child cannot even get involved in anything that has to do with house chores or getting involved in making a home. So at that particular point, how do you handle such things? This girl was not even brought up to clean the house or to cook or to make things work around the house. Everything was always done for her. Now that she's in her own place, she's married, her husband is having issues with this. Do you start training that person all over again? And the same goes for a man that always had everything going. You never had any drive in life. Anything you want, your parents are always supplying it. Before you snap your finger, they give you what you want. And then it's time for you to start providing for your home, and you can't because you always had everything you wanted. You don't even know how to make things work. You don't know how to face pressure and overcome pressure and everything. So I want us to look at it from the place of upbringing, exposure. While you're growing up, what did you go through? What was the exposure like? What turned you like this? Was it genetic? Was it environment? Was it just the fact that you were not exposed to certain things? And because you were not exposed, you don't even know how to do those things. How do we address these things from all angles?
We're just going to face matters as they are. If you are lazy, you are lazy. Hello. No matter how I want to spin it, some people are just lazy. The way my wife was rightly emphasizing it is upbringing. Let's look at it. There are scenarios that we have seen of either firstborns or lastborns or only sons. There are usually particular scenarios you see like that. In the scenario, or even you might even say a scenario of only girl. Even though usually in the case of only girl, she might be tomboyish. But in the cases of firstborn, whereby it's only the younger ones that are doing all the work, or in the cases of lastborns, whereby they feel that lastborn does not have any responsibility. In fact, there's usually the scenario of lastborn syndrome. That's what it's called. And then there's a scenario of the only son, where he has 2 or 3 sisters. They do all the housework. And when parents do this, I just don't understand the reason why. So that particular person is used to not doing anything. And that person grows up to be lazy many times. We too, we've become parents now, and we're going to become parents. Let us not make the same mistakes. Let us stop treating our children like they would break. Whenever we do all those things, let us understand that we are making our children invalids, unable to respond to responsibility, unable to be adequate members of society. We are destroying our children's future. But if you have been in such a scenario, listen, the only way you can come out of any predicament in life is to own it.
Yeah.
You just have to come to a place where you face that, look, I am lazy. Can you tell yourself that? One of the only way you can really get out of a problem is to recognize that there is a problem. If you are slow and you are usually running behind time, just tell yourself, I am slow. I am bad with timing. It's like Alcohol Anonymous. One of the things I like about those groups is that, those groups that they sit down and talk about their alcohol problem and they encourage one another. The first thing they do is in introduction. They will say, hi, my name is Dave. I am an alcoholic. They own it. You will tell yourself, hi, my name is Tunde. I am a lazy spouse. Hi, my name is Rike. I am a lazy wife. Because when you can do that, that is the only way you can pull yourself out. Because listen, it is not easy to change. It is possible.
Yeah.
Very doable. We can change, but only when we have the motivation to do so. When you realize that you are lazy, then you can begin to carve and pull yourself out of that situation.
Another thing you can do as a person is association. You can begin to improve on yourself by the kind of people you move around with or you associate with. Your association can actually change you. This thing of, this person is an adult, he's already formed, he's already made. I discovered that associations can still unform and unmold people. When you move with the right set of people, you want to be rich, start moving with the rich. You want to be educated, start moving with the educated. You want to eat well, start moving with people that eat well. You want to dress well, you start moving with people that dress well. You get to become better by association. So you might need to change your kind of friends. You might need to start moving with people that are hardworking, with people that are not lazy. So by the time they make fun of you or they talk to you or some of them come hard on you from time to time, you will not run away from such people. You take the correction in love and you tell yourself you want to get better. Before you know, you become a better person. There's this adage in Yoruba that one person gives birth to a child, 1,000 people would.
The
community that raises the child. So your mother has done or your parents have done the best that they can do with you, even at 40. Now, if you change your association, those associations can actually change you in 2 years, in 1 year. Why? Because you get better by association. That's why we would say that let's see the people you move with, and we can tell you the kind of a person you are. Even if you join them as a lazy person, just give yourself time and keeping up. And then you might look for how they can motivate you. When they say, let's do this, as a group, you do it. Just keep the right association around you. You become a better person. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
With God and men. See, because the Spirit of God will bring profitability into your life.
You're welcome to Vantage Church, a colosseum with a clear-cut mandate to keep the saints with faith relevant for today's living. Our mission, to raise a body of believers who are led by the Spirit and aren't bound to any religious notions, is our passion. We're committed to an out-of-the-box Christianity and empowerment to a life of impact and relevance. We invite you to join any of our services, our worship services on Sunday by 10 a.m. At Providence Court beside Coca-Cola, Mokola, Ibadan.
We proclaim to you the good news today.
You're welcome back to today's episode on Naked and Not Ashamed.
Whatever you don't learn from home, you will learn from outside.
True.
If they have been telling you from when you were young, you are lazy, invariably you are lazy. Just tell yourself the truth. If you don't tell yourself the truth, then it becomes a problem when you get married. I know what can be very humorous about getting married and about facing situations and facing challenges is that we treat the person that tells us the truth like they are the enemy. The person that tells you your mouth is smelling is not the one that is making your mouth to smell. It's simply the one that loves you enough to tell you. They are not the only one that know. They're just the ones that love you enough to dare to say so. Face it. Face the situation and understand I am lazy. And then you can start making effort against it. And then you see, whenever these things come up in marriage, they stress the marriage.
Sure.
They come up in several scenarios. At times, it's a scenario, like we have said, of just the stereotypical one whereby the man is complaining that the woman is not doing house chores, she doesn't want to do anything in the house, and the one whereby the woman is complaining that the man is not he's not carrying his weight. But there are also other scenarios whereby the wife is complaining that, look, yes, my husband is bringing in money, but he doesn't want to help at all with housework. All he wants to do is get home, take off his shoes, put it on a stool, get a drink, and watch TV. Waiting for the food. And many a times, those realities can be very saddening because men do not want to put into perspective that wife is also working.
Yeah.
Unless if it's a scenario whereby she's not bringing anything to the plate. But if she is bringing something to the plate, she's also working. Men, you cannot say you love her and you want her to do all the work. And then to make matters worse, you now want to get into the other room and say, oh yeah, it is time. It is time for what? It is time to sleep. You better go to sleep and thank your lucky stars, you understand? Because, I mean, let's just face it. You cannot get the best from such a woman, you know. And of course, in the case of the man as well, there are scenarios whereby, yes, the woman is doing house chores, you know that, but the agreement or the way they want to raise their home is that you bring, I bring, when it comes to taking care of the house financially. And the woman doesn't want to get anything done. You know, let me tell you this. If you go to this job today, after 30 days, you live there, you say they say you don't know how to, you don't come on time. You move to this one, you spend 2 months there. You see, if you're going around like that, many a time, you now finally sit at home and then there's nothing coming in. The husband will conclude this woman is lazy. But I want the first lady to go, and then I want to come with a whole twist to all of these scenarios.
All right. Like my husband just said now, if you are lazy, you are lazy. If you are dirty, you are dirty. If you don't have a push in life, you don't have a push. But you see, we should think about the repercussion of this on our children.
Wow.
Because children will do what you do, not what you say.
Wow.
Have you been there before when you see a mother or a father sit down and say, go and do this, go and do that, go and do this? At some point, the child will start feeling, but you're not doing this thing yourself.
So true.
It's not as if you're up and doing yourself. So children do what you do, not what you say. And you don't want this thing to continue to the next generation. So the earlier you put a stop to it, the better. The earlier you address the issue and work on yourself so that the next generation will not have to repeat the same thing, the better. Because most likely you're like either your father or your mother.
Wow.
You got it from someone. Laziness is part of, sincerely, if a child is lazy or is hardworking, it is gotten from somewhere.
Laziness is contagious.
It's contagious. I almost want to say it's genetic.
It's hereditary.
It's hereditary, sincerely. Because you see your parents in a particular way. You cannot see your daddy hustle all the way, work hard and do that. And then you as a child will sit down, you in your mental capacity, in your growing up, you won't know that men should work hard, should hustle. Or you see your mother going from beat to beat, doing this, doing that, and she comes back home, she enters the kitchen, she's making sure that this place is tidy, that place is well done and everything. And you as a lady or as a girl growing up will not see that this is the way I should be as a child. Like we said, you can't get everything from your parents, but at least the basic things, that the foundation should be laid at home. So if your foundation was badly laid, it's not too late, because what you are building upon it will soon crumble. You might need to adjust the foundation a bit, add 1 or 2 things and become a better person so that your children will not take up the same thing.
Wow, awesome. If you didn't get it from home, you have an opportunity to get it from your friends.
Yeah.
Whenever you're hanging around them, open your eyes, open your ears, listen to them. See how they handle affairs in their homes. You see, you can blame your parents in childhood, but in adulthood, it is irresponsibility to want to blame somebody else for your predicament.
True.
So, yes, that might have been where you're coming from, but you have a right in life to change your life, because your children and the next cycles are depending on it. There's a principle of God's word that says that a generation is cursed or blessed to the 4th generation.
Yeah.
Because basically we hand over to our children, one day hand over to other children.
True.
To their own children. So it becomes a cycle, but you can break those cycles in your home. You can change those cycles.
Please stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. We'd like to intimate you with our online platform where we have an amazing list of events to bless you every week. You can join us for prophetic prayers every Monday to Wednesday by 6 a.m. where we connect to God's blessings. Every Tuesday is our special couples session by 7 p.m. where we talk about every area of marriage, relationship, finances, and children. On Wednesday, we have our midweek Bible study by 7 p.m. to help us grasp the deeper understanding of the things of God. You can join any of these awesome live sessions at Yinka Adeleke on Facebook and Instagram. Simply search yinka.adeleke on Facebook, Yinka_Adeleke on Instagram. You can also search for Yinka Adeleke on YouTube for amazing and insightful messages covering every subject. You can also enjoy reruns of all our Naked and Not Ashamed sessions on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube every Friday by 8 p.m. You'll surely be blessed. You're welcome back to today's episode on Naked and Not Ashamed.
You know, there's also the scenario that I want to quickly bring to limelight. The scenarios of house helps. If you're not careful, you'll be training somebody else's child at the detriment of your own. Because who would not need to wash clothes? Who would not need to tidy? Who would not need to cook? When the house help does all those things, then what will your children know how to do? And let me tell you, children only know how to do by doing.
Yeah.
They don't grow into things. They only learn or do not know. I remember a case of one pastor that told me that he wanted to cross the road, but he had noticed a lady that was standing there for quite a while. He got busy with something else, so he didn't cross. So when the veteran wanted to cross, lady nurse came to him and said, "Please, sir, can you help me to cross the road?" He said that woman couldn't be less than 25 years old. She did not know how to cross the road on her own. Why? Because you don't grow into it. If the person has never learned, they will never know. Do not train other people's children. I remember there was a bad time, there was a scenario that there was this thing that was coming up then, whereby young, enlightened, educated men were thinking of going to marry women in the village. Because the
City girls.
city girls only knew how to do Instagram. Sir, ma, now Instagram we go chop. You know how to do makeup. Thank God for you. God bless you. Is it makeup that would sustain the family? Or the guy knows how to do swagger. Oh boy, now swagger we go live on. These are things that cannot sustain. But I want to quickly bring a quick tilt to this discussion. Otherwise, this discussion will not be complete. Now, what I'm about to say, if you don't hear me and listen to me very clearly, you will think I'm contradicting everything we have talked about today. And that is the simple fact that nobody is really truly lazy. Aha, that's the thought to put into consideration. And what I mean is this: there will be something that person enjoys doing. There will be something that if that person is doing it, and that thing cannot be having fun. No. That one is still laziness. I mean something that involves work. Unless if your phone is producing money for you.
Yeah.
For example, now, especially in developed countries, there are now people that can play game for a living. What a job if you love playing games. You get what I'm saying? But listen, I want to give you two things. A child that is lazy will have something they enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that something they enjoy doing is a key to training them for the future.
Yeah.
Why? Attach whatever they don't like to do, whether it be their schoolwork, whether it be reading their books, or whether it be doing house chores, or whatever the responsibility they need to do, attach it to that thing. That look, if you do well, I will get you that thing. Or if you do very, very well, I will give you more opportunity to do that thing.
A reward system.
A reward system. So that whenever they are looking at what they don't like to do in quote, they'll be looking at it with the enthusiasm of what they naturally have a flair for. Now, for adults, if your spouse is lazy, find out what they like doing. There will be something they like doing, encourage them on that. You know why? When you encourage them on that, and you are not completely crumbled or killed their self-esteem, it becomes a lot easier for them to also find middle ground.
True.
To begin to also do and assist in those other things. Now take the situation or the scenario of a man. If a man is in code related to as being lazy because not providing for his own as he ought to, if that man can develop that thing that he likes doing into a money-making venture,
Yeah.
problem solved.
True.
I think the best definition of a job in life
It's solving problems.
is doing something you like doing and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
That is, you see, because because what it takes to succeed in life are simply hard work, consistency, spending time with something.
Yeah.
Whatever you like doing, you'll be hard at working at it. You'll be consistent at it,
Exactly.
and you wouldn't mind spending time at it.
Wow.
And as you do those things, you become better. As you become better, your earning capacity
Becomes
increases
more.
because your ability to provide services will also greatly increase.
Fantastic.
We would love your comments to come in. We would love to hear your feedbacks. And we also love to hear your questions so we can know exactly what areas to address. So until next week, be naked and not ashamed.